misdemeanour in the races, then the single point that they get for qualifying will stay. At the moment, watching Scott Bugner, he is P2 in the championship. And Lydia Scott races in the MG Owners Club presently. He's very quick in the real world. He's one of those, I'd say, rare drivers that's actually good at both disciplines, both on the sim and in the real world. There aren't too many drivers that can do that. And I don't know if you remember the mini championship that we commentated on before. The sim drivers were a notch above, weren't they?
Yeah, they were running away with it, weren't they? I think the problem is we kind of, I guess on the sim you can risk it a little bit more, and I think when you're on track perhaps you then bring that sort of, there's a bit of self-preservation, isn't there? And I think perhaps you bring that onto the sim, and maybe that's where the sim drivers potentially have the edge. But it would be interesting actually to see if how Scott finds the difference between the two, and whether he thinks it helps him on track perhaps. Because I'm sure if you use the sim regularly enough, I'm sure it must help you in some ways. But I think you have to remember that there's a reset button on the sim and there isn't in real life.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. And as I say, Scott really transitioned well. He sort of flicks in and out of real cars and does great. And we've got a lot of other drivers that race on circuits for real too here, and there are some quick pedalers in there. Craig Curtis is top at the moment. He's third in the championship and provisional pole. Now, the other thing is that to add to the realism, the track will be at its most efficient in the closing stages. So we tend in this championship not to have a sort of runaway pole position at the start. So the track will warm up, the rubber will go down, they'll get a little bit more grip as the qualifying session goes on. We are only 3 minutes away actually from the checkered flag on qualifying. So it's Craig Curtis out front at the moment. There is Adam Lyle in the yellow and black Phoenix lit car with the Cross of St George on the top. There's a similar livery with a salt tyre, which isn't one that Joe Tanner's painted. That's a rarity, isn't it? Joe Tanner not painting a salt tyre. That's a livery Krzyzewska. But we look at Jack Smith, who, great to welcome him back into the fold, and P6 at the moment. And Jack's one of those, he'll probably go and stick it on pole on the last lap, or maybe not. But I haven't managed to persuade Jack's brother to come and race with us yet in this championship, which is a great pity. But great to have Jack. Great to have him.
Martin in the gravel.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, good spot. You've been reading the Spotter's Guide.
Yes, I have. And I was hoping no one was changing liveries between race weekends. That was what I was a bit worried about. Spending 3 hours this morning figuring out who was in what, and then everything's changed by the time I get here. But yeah, aren't these liveries nice? That's a lovely livery, that one. Smith. Almost reminds me of my Mini last year.
It does a bit, doesn't it? Has he been taking inspiration from Team Walmsley?
I doubt it. It's just nice colour, isn't it? But yeah, no, it really stands out. It's lovely.
It is good. Josh Martin down in 10th place at the moment. So after a particularly good weekend, good all-round weekend last I keep saying weekend. Last week he was P2 in qualifying, and then the first, third, and second in the races. Josh Martin, but he's going to be on the back foot here. The championship lead down in 11th place, and Kenny Press has gone ahead of him now as well. Craig Curtis still top of the stack. It's almost like we're back where we were at round 2 with Scott Bugner back on form as well. Josh Martin does have the most ballast to carry around, so that might be spanking him a little bit out there, with Scott Bugner on 32 kg, Josh on 34, Craig Curtis on 27. So the big guns all doing very well indeed as we watch Lee Pearcey. Lee is up into 6th place now, still Craig Curtis atop of the timing screen with 1:18 left on the clock, and Jack Smith trying to nail down as quick a lap as he can. It'll be handily placed that you could probably win these races from such is the quality of the drivers over these rounds that we've got. Could probably win from, I'll be perfectly honest, absolutely anywhere, but you're looking generally for a winner to come from the top 2 rows, maybe the 3rd row as well, with Thomas Potter 5th at the moment, Jack Smith 4th. 2nd and 3rd rows obviously looking very strong indeed, but they're going to have a job getting ahead of Craig Curtis and Scott Bugner. Driver we need to keep an eye out for is Adam Lyle, the only driver in the championship so far to have won had 3 race wins, and he's won at each of the 3 events so far. So that's a major achievement given the spread of the results that we've had so far in the campaign, as Jack Smith goes up into P2. He's got to get P1 to get the interview though for the we used to do 1, 2 and 3 in qualifying, but now we just do it as the pole position sitter, and then a guest, and you're the guest today, so that will be our chat as we get ready for race number 1. But is Jack Smith going to bang in another lap? Craig Curtis looks like he is sat and happy. Unsurprisingly, just had a quick squeeze down the timing screen. Everybody, I think, on the soft tyres for qualifying, as you would expect. So we are now at checkered flag time. Craig Curtis looks like, well, I said about the track coming to drivers, seems to be coming to Jack Smith, but Craig Curtis set his lap around about halfway in, so it's very impressive stuff from Craig Curtis. And he's going to be a foot, if he holds on to that, even if Jack Smith passes him for pole, it will be 4 different pole sitters in 4 events. So very competitive stuff from VRRC. And again, if you're new watching this for the first time, this is very accessible. You can come and race with this. You can start next week if you want. You can start practicing straight away after the event finishes today, as we get ready for Most next week, next Wednesday. So please do think about coming and joining VRRC and getting on track, and we could be talking about you as watch. Adam Lyle's got 2 purple sexters. Is he going to go up from 4th on the grid here? Josh Martin moves out of the way. Nice stuff from Josh. Good gentlemanly stuff from him. Let's see what Adam Lyle can do. It's still Craig Curtis on pole from Jack Smith, with Adam Lyle going P2 on that last lap. Craig Curtis takes pole position, and it is Adam Lyle in 2nd position, Jack Smith in 3rd. 4th is going to be Scott Bugner. I'll tell you what, we've got all the big guns at the top end of this at the moment, which is great news for the championship. So Craig Curtis, and do you know what, this is the first time, Lydia, normally I rely on writing down the times of who is where on the grid, because we don't get the TSL print, obviously, and this is the first time that I haven't bothered writing them down until the checker flags got out of the way. And actually the most separate times have been, normally it's the kiss of death writing somebody down, but interesting stuff. Andy Carroll 5th, and top 6 rounded up by Thomas Potter as we take a quick break. So, first interview of the day goes to Craig. Craig, congratulations, mate. We were talking about podium bingo last week, and I think I missed out on the fact that you had all 3 steps on the podium last week, 3rd in the championship, and now continuing to add to the success with pole position. Well done. Talk us through your lap.
Yeah, thanks, Rich. Yeah, I been speaking with Andy Carroll during the week, and after watching his hot lap on Monday, realised that I was taking the last chicane incorrectly, let's say. So he improved my line through there, and I just managed to gain a few tenths that I needed to, especially in the practice runs as well. And my last flying lap was just good enough for pole. So I saw Jack and then Adam crept up by just under a tenth. So I'm glad I finally got that last lap in, and yeah, really happy with that.
Brilliant performance. Have you had lots of practice over the week?
Yeah, I've been doing the odd laps with the extra ballast. That's from last week's
right
treble podium. I was on 27 kilos now, so yeah, it's very well. Yeah, it's. I mean, the race is going to be weird. I've done a mini race run earlier on this evening, so I'm hoping the tyres last. But we'll see where we go. It was the same last week as well. So, and especially in the feature race, my strategy worked out. So hopefully it'll be the same again this evening.
Fingers crossed for you. And strategy is key, isn't it? And it's a lot of slog, isn't it? It starts with qualifying, and then obviously sprint race. They seem, when you're at this stage of the evening, for me, it seems like sprint race is much lighter work than the half hour one, and you've got all that work to do. How tiring is it by the time you've got to the third race with that full half hour in prospect?
If it were my choice, I'd have another 3-4 races that evening. To be honest with you, it is that much fun driving. But again, yeah, the sprints and the feature now had a little bit of extra dimension in terms of strategy, especially in the feature, and making the decision on what tyres you go on for the sprints as well. You know, so do you go safe and go mediums, or go aggressive and go soft? So it's very difficult to judge it, especially when you're at the front of the grid. I think you can have the freedom of choice as well. So yeah, hopefully what I've gone for will work. I've got Jack behind me as well, and Adam. So yeah, it's going to be, well, hopefully nose to tail. I'm hoping for a quite boring race, but again, Assen is always action packed. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, normally pretty good. As you said, Scott's behind you, but Josh Martin, he was well down the order actually, Josh. So he won't be very happy. I'm just trying to work out where he is. I think 12th on the grid, Josh. So a chance to maybe jump into the championship lead if the 3 races go well.
Hopefully, yeah. Like I said, I'm only here now for next week, and then I miss it the last 3. So if I can lead the championship at the halfway stage, that'll be a first for me. So yeah, like I said last week, I'm just gutted I'm not doing the full 8. But again, it's just one of those things. But I just need to enjoy it while I'm here and make the most of it. So I'm not hoping to get in, not in the way of the people going for the championship across the 8 weeks. But if I can upset the apple cart a little bit, then so be it.
We can class you. We can call you the partial champion.
Yeah.
If you're leading after Moss, then no doubt everyone else gets sick of me carrying on mentioning it for the remaining 3 weeks. But either way, it's great to see you up there, and will you be? I guess you know what the next championship is. I'm wondering whether you'll be back for that as well, because it's slightly different, isn't it? The next one. We haven't announced it yet, but.
Yeah, I've heard rumblings. So yeah, it's going to be slightly different than what we used to. But yeah, again, that's the joys of racing with these guys. The championships are different, the cars are different, the tracks are different, and it's all good experience in terms of the racing aspect. And yeah, I'm hopefully becoming more adaptable with these cars and learning quite quickly with the setups, etc. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Excellent, we are too. Craig, congratulations on pole position, and very best of luck for the race.
Thank you, Rich.
Craig Curtis there, our pole position driver. Now, this time we normally do a shout out with somebody involved in the championship, and it might be a driver who we've not interviewed before, or a sponsor or a team owner. But today we have the time to have a little chat with Lydia. And there is the picture from the announcement, Lydia. So tell us about that announcement from last week.
Absolutely, yes. I'm absolutely thrilled to be racing in the Porsche Sprint Challenge this year. I'm really excited. As you can see from the photo, I'll be racing with Graves Motorsport, which are no strangers to the Porsche paddock. Did extremely well last year, so I'm really excited. It's a bit of an upgrade from my Mini, but people that have been following know that the Mini was sold last year. So I think everyone's been wondering what the plans were, and we've just been trying to put it all in place. Get the budget sorted. It's a bit of a bigger budget than a Mini, as I'm sure everyone can imagine. So it's been a long time coming, and I am still looking for budget, but it's nice to have that plan in place now and know exactly what we're doing and have something to work towards now. So I'm really excited. I cannot wait.
I've got to say, I mean, when you went off and had a test with Groves last year, and for me, I mean, thrilled that you're moving into that next step, but all the drivers leave me. Do you know what I mean? As commentator, they all go start off with we get them in juniors, and then they go off, maybe come and race minis or something, and then they go off to Porsches, and you've got Addison working on you next year, so good luck with that. He knows I'm only joking. But yeah, you'll disappear. But one thing I will say about Porsche is that the paddock, I've probably got as many friends in the Porsche paddock as I do with Mini and F4 and whoever else is guesting. And that's really great, because obviously, like, you've got Max Coates in there, Karen Sekat, who I know really well from Ginetta, and Karen will actually come over and have a chat, and Will Jenkins out of it's such a really, really good paddock. The Porsche paddock, and everyone is still very friendly, and I still take a keen interest in what's going on there. So even though you're leaving us, I'll still follow you.
Richard, you should come over to our side now. You should be the next one.
I hope we get the chance. I mean, sometimes David disappears off to do stuff at Spa, and I'll come and do the touring cars in the Porsche. So I hope that may be a thing. But obviously, leaving Minis, we're very, very fond of Minis, and I've enjoyed working on races with you in the trophy and the JCWs. You must have very fond memories of that to carry forward.
100%. I've been racing, I worked it out, mini challenge for 7 years now. So I definitely due a change, I believe. But yeah, 7 years within mini challenge, would that be the Cooper and the JCW? So it has been a good few years, and I think it's taught me a lot about motorsport, about racing cars, and I think it's definitely something that I'll cherish for a long time. I mean, being part of the Toka package and having that sort of jump onto the package and at quite a high level of motorsport, really, when you've got all the people watching on ITV4, it wouldn't have been possible without being part of Mini Challenge, because obviously it was one of the most cost-effective things that we could afford at the time. So it's been an amazing experience, and learning the craft of front-wheel drive so early on, I don't think you can really change that. You wouldn't want to change that. It's definitely an important skill to learn. But yeah, it's just nice to do something different, and I'm excited to learn something new and be part of a different atmosphere, a different championship. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I can't wait to see what happens this year. I'm sure it'll be very exciting.
It will be, and it gives us another dimension, another interest in the Porsche paddock, which we're looking forward to seeing. Last year's championship, of course, was it a single point? It was won by, which was absolutely incredibly close, which is good. Now I'm going to come on to something that a lot of people maybe watching don't know about you. You're a third generation driver, aren't you?
I am indeed. Yeah, on a different kind of circuit. So my granddad and my dad used to race on the oval circuit. So we had a Vauxhall Stadium literally right around the corner from us, which I'm sure you're very familiar with, Richard. But yeah, we've all come from the oval racing background, so it's really nice. And certainly, I think around our area, my dad and my granddad had like a car sales place. So the Wormsey name is kind of well known because it's literally right next to Vauxhall Stadium. So it's quite nice. But yeah, very different discipline, I think, to what we're doing, but no less of a mean feat, that's for sure.
I mean, a lot of oval families have made the move, haven't they? And it's not necessarily an upward move. It is in terms of cost, but oval racing is such a very tricky discipline. It's a good place to learn your craft. Did you do any mini stocks or anything like that, or did you go into karts first?
No, I didn't. I obviously showed an interest, and that's why my dad got me into motorsport in the first place. But he said that, or he decided that karting would be a safer option. But I broke my leg about 2 years in, so we definitely proved that it wasn't. But yeah, I think definitely oval racing is certainly a skill, 100%. I'm not sure that I could do it really, being that close to the wall. I mean, I don't really like getting close to the tyre barrier, so I don't think being right next to a concrete wall would really float my boat. But and it's the fact that they're so close. I always find when oval racers come to the circuit, they're not worried about getting close to other cars and lunging up the inside. And I definitely think that's probably a skill that you learn that's really valuable on the circuit racing. So yeah, perhaps I should give it a go, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, so they might with the Porsches, you'll probably attract the attention of the Brisker celebrity night that they have with Bobby Thompson and Owie and all that lot. So don't be surprised if you get an invite to go.
I probably wouldn't survive. I wouldn't make it to next season.
But yeah, so there are good connections. But again, it's lovely to see an oval family on the circuits and enjoying it. We're going to go over to the grid now, Lydia. Thanks for the little chat. It went far too quickly. But we'll try and get some more insights into what's going on as we go through. But sprint race 1 coming up, and Craig Curtis on pole. Adam Lyle is alongside, then Jack Smith and Scott Bugner. Who's your money on for this one, Lydia?
Well, do you know what? Craig Curtis was so certified with his lap that he sat in the pit lane for so long, so I think my money's on him.
You could well do it, couldn't he? Craig Curtis had his first win of the series last time out. Looking for a back-to-back win here as the lighting sequence is complete, and away we go. Several of the drivers still struggling to get away, but no such problems for the front runners, and it is Craig Curtis from Adam Lyle. Jack Smith slots into 3rd position. Scott Bugner down in 5th, I think, at the moment. He's dicing with Andy Carroll, isn't he? So the two teammates dicing hard, and as they go through, it is Scott Bugner 4th. In fact, Thomas Potter has come up into 5th. So plenty of teenagers, remember, in the championship. And just trying to work out who we're missing today. We'll come on to that a little bit later on. But a little bit of a tag there, and Craig Curtis, curse of the commentator, Lydia.
No, Well, he had help, to be fair. He did do that on his own. So I think that might be a post-race judicial there. But yeah, that's a shame, really, because he was on for a good run. And I was going to say Adam Lyle was really nice to him on the start. He didn't lunge it up the inside at turn 1, which I thought he might. He gave each other room, but unfortunately ended a little bit quick, didn't it? But yeah, we'll see if he can claw his way back up. I'm sure. Oh, he's quite far down, actually. So yeah, we'll see about that.
This could all be about the comeback now for possibly race 2, maybe race 3, if he can get inside the top 10 and start to work his way through. Josh Martin up into 9th place through the first few corners, but Scott Bugner coming under pressure. This is fascinating. If Jack Smith had been with us from the start, then we would say that Jack and Scott dicing together with Thomas Potter in behind in black and green. The two cars we're looking at there would potentially be the battle for the championship. Certainly going to be the battle for the meeting here today. And Jack Smith, how much ballast has Jack Smith got? I failed to look at that. 10 kilos. So that's well down for Jack Smith in terms of weight. He will no doubt get added to as the course of the season continues. But Scott Bugner doing a fantastic job of defending from him at the moment. He'll want to maybe crack on and get down the road. We've got Chris Blakey coming up now in the black and gold car. That car, Lydia, mirrors his BMW for real in the real world. If you were up at the Autosport show, you might have seen the real world version of Chris Blakey's car. It's a beautiful looking car, and Chris on the outside run here of Thomas Potter. He's got his nose in front and up into 4th position. So it's Andy Carroll next up, then Lee Pearcey, Nathan Smith in 8th, Josh Martin 9th, Craig Curtis next up from John Jones. It's Daniel Heaps, isn't it, that we are missing, which is a little bit of a pity. Hope he's well. Daniel, if you're watching, make sure you're back out with us next week. Look forward to seeing you, and really enjoyed our chat last week. Daniel, another ex-oval racer from Ireland, who had a really good chat with us last week, and always a shame when we miss someone for whatever reason. A little bit of contact there, and Chris Blakey goes a little bit wobbly, but the battle's on for, and he gets a big sideways moment on there. Caught it well there, Lydia.
He did, yeah. It was not really the best place to have that happen, really, is it? Because it's right on the exit curve, and he's not got a lot of grip, but he held on to it well. I think he has dropped off a little bit though, so it has slowed him down a touch. But look at the lead that Lyle's got though. That over 2.7 seconds now, so he is up the road. He's gone.
This is Adam Lyle's kind of catchphrase, or this is his thing, because he's won race 1 at the first 2 events, and he took race 2 last time out. But race 1, he's a specialist race 1 winner, and this is going to be great for his championship as well, if he can carry on. But we've got the it's medium. Maybe think Jack Smith was on soft tyres. He's on mediums, and dicing with Scott Bugner, and Scott just having to give best to the reigning VRRC champion, but no, he doesn't. He's come back at him. This is the Scott Bugner we know and love, really getting stuck in well. Thomas Potter has closed in on them as well as they start to fight. Thomas is in a good place here, I think.
He is, yeah. He actually looks like he could come out on top here. That's I was going to say it was a nice lunge, but there was a bit of contact there, which might bring the mix here. In fact, it has. He's in the middle of the sandwich, so he doesn't really have much anywhere to go there, but perhaps on the run down here, we've got Smith in the toe, so perhaps we might see something happening here.
Yeah,
close,
Scott,
isn't it?
It's very close indeed. Another little tap there, this time with Thomas Potter. Scott gets it all sideways. I know Scott was very frustrated with things last time out, but he's come back, which is great, as the championship leader the round before. I think on top scores, on total scores, is probably still in charge of the championship. But this might as well be the battle for the lead. 3 of them all involved at the moment as we ride on board with Jack Smith, who seems to be keeping a watching brief at the moment, down in P4. Adam Lyle still away and down the road. 10 minutes on this one going, so 1/3 distance, and 4, I was going to say an orderly queue. It's more of a disorderly one at the moment, isn't it?
They've been side by side pretty much the whole lap. It's mental. It's like proper touring car racing. It's great to see. But fingers crossed they can keep it clean. I think that was Thomas Potter off to the edge of the track there. But I mean, yeah, I guess they've got room to do it, haven't they? So they're probably going to inch that margin a little bit more. There's a barrier there. But they're 2 by 2 into turn 1 here. So we'll see how that pans out. Oh, Potter around the outside!
Well, Thomas Potter, it could well be in the Graves Motorsport awning. That's the plan, isn't it, for next year with the Toka Junior Championship. He's not going to be of age to race on the circuits for real until the last round, as I've mentioned before, but you'll no doubt be having a little bit of paddock time chatting to Thomas, I think, for next year. Scott Buckley driving superbly.
He's just the dark horse at the back of you. He's waiting for everyone to have their moment, and then he's going to nip through. And to be fair, when they're arguing amongst themselves, it's bringing everyone together, isn't it? We're going to have, I can imagine we're going to have probably 6, 7, 8 cars for this battle, and then absolutely.
Yeah, this is incredible stuff. Oh, and Thomas gets a wheel off in the ground. Look how much speed that has scrubbed off. Gets stuck into Craig Curtis. Craig Curtis coming back into it quite well, isn't he? In 7th position. That's Andy Carroll, beg your pardon, who he just had the side-by-side moment with. It's Chris Blakey now up into 3rd place. So Chris has kind of picked his way through with Jack Smith in 4th. Now, is Jack Smith going to be the stalking horse here? We've again, I'll give a sort of shout out to Eric Axelson, who I hope we'll see back racing with VRRC at some point, but not with us at the moment. Again, another quick driver. He's coming back next time apparently, which is good news. And this is an Eric Axelson type drive from Jack Smith, sort of watching and seeing what's going on, picking people through. Having said that, it's Jack Smith type drive, of course, because that is how Jack gets through and wins as many titles as he's done. He's in P4 at the moment, watching Chris Blakey out front, and huge lead now for Adam Lyle. So Adam well clear of this. He's timed it again absolutely perfectly. Chris Blakey running very well in 3rd place and coming under pressure here from Jack Smith, with Thomas Potter having recovered. Andy Carroll next up from Craig Curtis, the pole man, back up into P7. 8th is Lee Pearcey, 9th Josh Martin, John Jones is 10th. So John Jones inside the top 10. Then it's Nathan Smith, Liva Krishnovska, Alex Forster in 13th. Then Kenny Press and Sam Wharton completing the runners. At the moment, things are a little bit more settled down, and Scott Buckner has managed to just scrape free. We've lost Chris Blakey from the mix there. He's still actually in behind the next trio of cars, but that sort of calmed things down a little bit as Craig Curtis starts to... It's great recovery from Craig Curtis here, though.
Yeah, it is. I mean, where he started at the end of lap 1, you wouldn't really think he'd be up back in the mix, really, but he's right there. Yeah, his lap times are good as well, to be fair. And Jack Smith's got PB sector 1, so his tyres are still working for him, even though he's on the medium. So, yeah, I think Jack Smith's definitely the one to watch, but Lyle, I think, has the win. He's 9 seconds now, which I don't see anyone catching him from that.
No, well, unless the tyres go completely off for the last few minutes. But yeah, as you say, huge lead, fastest lap as well. As is often the case, he's been able to concentrate on open track and pick his racing line absolutely superbly. So Craig Curtis now with Thomas Potter ahead of him. Thomas has driven a good one. Thomas on the soft tyre, Craig Curtis on soft as well. The 2 mediums in the front group, Scott Buckner and Jack Smith. So Scott, I think, he won't be pleased with the contact that was going on. We can call it robust if we wish, but yeah, you won't be overly happy with that. But he'll look in his mirrors, and I think he'll take a little bit of comfort from the fact that it's Jack Smith there. So he won't be expecting any contact with Jack. We won't be expecting Jack to dish any out. Thomas Potter is in behind as well, still in 4th and trying to get up onto the podium, but almost into the last third of this race. I'm not going to ask you for any more predictions, Lydia, because it didn't work for Craig, did it?
No, I'm not going to do what every commentator does and curse everybody else. No, I think I'll sit quiet for that one. But I mean, it's shaped out to be a nice race, isn't it? I mean, there has been a little bit of contact. I think Thomas Potter's had a bit of an arduous ride. I'm not sure whether how much has been his fault or not. It just seems to be struggling with the car a little bit, perhaps. I mean, there it was gravel just a little bit. So perhaps maybe his soft tyres are going on a little bit more than the mediums.
Yeah, he's just lost out to Craig Curtis, also on softs, but Craig fighting back. I'll tell you what, that fight through the field would have taken something out of Craig Curtis's tyres. But look where he is now. He's not that far away for battling for a podium. I think the win has gone, but he's in with a shout here of getting onto the podium. And if that's the case, we'll get to have a chat with him. But he's got 2 of the top-rated drivers in VRRC ahead of him to close up on and try and deal with. And it will change the complexion of this, Lydia, if he does get on the boot lid of Jack Smith in P3, and Jack wants to get the hurry on, try and get past Scott Buckner before he has to worry about Craig Curtis getting under his rear spoiler, and he's looking on the outside run here. He's surely not close enough to be able to get around the outside. Scott gets on the brakes. Is there going to be the opportunity to do a cutback here? You can see Jack's thinking about it. Now takes a slightly wider run into that corner to get a bit more momentum. And if he can hold it out on the outside run here and maybe tee up the inside to the left-hander on the next straight. The corner was far too long for him to do that. And now he's got Craig Curtis right with him as well. A little bit of drift from Jack Smith. And that allows Craig Curtis to get onto a podium position, or does it? They're still side by side. Lovely bit of racing between the pair of them. That was all good, clean stuff, which we fully expect from them. Jack Smith's actually got back, held his nerve there, Jack Smith. This is what VRRC racing is all about, super stuff.
So impressive. I mean, I thought Jack Smith was going to have him then for a second, but I think Buckner backed him up, and that just gave Craig Curtis the opportunity to try and challenge. And I think Jack Smith perhaps maybe looked in the mirror a little bit and saw what was behind the sort of big beefy car in his rearview mirror, but seems to be holding on. So yeah, we'll see.
Brilliant stuff. Absolutely love this. And you know, we've got reverse grid racing to come up as well, which we're looking forward to. Again, if you're a first-time viewer, Jack Smith is the reigning champion. Our last championship was the BMW M3 Championship, and won the World Endurance League in our sports car series before that. He's won many other things as well. So it's great to have him back. It's been away due to work commitments. Hopefully we'll be able to find out a little bit more about that with a podium interview. But really, I don't mind who we get to talk to. It's always interesting stuff as they come out of the final couple of corners here. Turn 16, 17 and 18. Tick off another lap, 2 minutes 43 to go, and it's Adam Lyle from P2 on the grid that leads the race from Scott Buckner. Jack Smith third, Craig Curtis is in fourth position, desperate to get back on the podium. Remember, started on pole position. Andy Carroll is in fifth place, then Chris Blakey, Lee Pearcey, Thomas Potter now down in eighth. Josh Martin, I think, may be struggling. I don't know if he practiced very much this week, but certainly with loads of ballast on board the car. Scott Buckner is being closed up on again here by Jack Smith, who will want to get P2 points. We were trying to debate whether, having missed 3 rounds, you drop one of those. We wouldn't put it past Jack Smith to be with a shout at the end of the series. He's that good a driver. If he's that consistent and fast, he could well be in with a shout at the end of the season when we go to Zwarktops. And he's putting Scott Buckner under massive pressure here.
I think he's on him now. He looked tasty a couple of laps ago, but now he definitely looks like he's got the edge up on Scott Buckner there. So I don't know quite where he's going to do it, because Buckner seems quite sort of confident in where there's a lunge there, but he can't just quite do it. It seems like that final little bit of the corner, he just can't quite get up the inside. So I'll be interested to see where he does it, but yeah, definitely not over between the two of these two yet.
It's interesting, isn't it, to watch this, and my son is hoping to have a go at this at some point as well, and he very, very nearly came out for the first round. Watched one of the hot laps and watched some stuff that we'd seen Andy Carroll do and some stuff that Jack Smith had done, and it actually put him off coming in, because these guys are so good. He will do it at some point. Now the question is, will Jack Smith do it and get past him, because he's on the outside run into the last lap of the race. Gets very close indeed. There was a tiny little bit of contact that comes up on the timing screen, but I don't think anything for the judicials to worry about. It didn't dislodge the car in front. Let's have a look at Craig Curtis trying to close in. Scott Buckner, I would argue, Lydia, he's done all the hard work here, hasn't he, for P2. He deserves it at the moment.
I believe he's going to keep it, to be fair. Jack Smith seems to be quicker through the final chicane, but never seems to be able to quite have that run to get past him at turn 1. So I think he's got it, but I don't know. We'll see. But well, I say that he's close at the moment, isn't he? It might not be over just yet.
He's having a look. He goes look around the outside, and again, Jack Smith, super clean. This is going to be, I think, good for Scott Buckner. There was a little bit of contact with other drivers earlier on in the race, but this has been good, clean and fair. Wonderful race between the pair of them. And Jack Smith is still racing hard, tries to go for the outside run here, but Buckner covers the inside, gets across to grab the line for the next corner as well. He's not overly defending here. He doesn't take a particularly overly tight line. There's almost a gap there being left. Jack Smith again has a little touch on the back end of Buckner's car. Adam Lyle still out front. The clock has run down, so we are going through the last few corners. This is the view from P2, and let's see whether Jack Smith can have another go. He is as they come through. Can't quite do it though. He's on the outside run here. Throws the car into the corner, throwing the car out of the chicane though. is Adam Lyon, who takes the win. This is the second position battle, and I think that lunge with no contact has really killed it for Jack Smith. He's going to have to satisfy himself with P3. So it's Scott Budner who drives superbly into second place, equally superb with Jack Smith attacking well for third place. So super stuff from his return from Jack Smith. Fourth position goes to Craig Curtis, a super recovery from him. Lee Piercy, good strong stuff from Lee Piercy. Equals, no, he doesn't equal his best of the year. His best of the year was fourth place, race 2 at Pascani. It was Andy Carroll next to Josh Martin, the championship leader, in 7th. Chris Blakey, 8th from Teapot. Thomas Potter. John Jones next from Nathan Smith. Olivia Krasnowska in 12th. Then Alex Forster, Kenny Press, and Sam Walton. And we'll catch up with the top 3 in just a couple of minutes.